Pleasant good afternoon, Ms. Solani and my fellow colleagues. Today, my group members and I will be presenting on number sense. My group members are Avila Buru, Divya Manu, Elise Carrera Lamont, Emily Yadali, and myself, Chanel Singh. Firstly, let's take a look at this short video clip on number sense.
Clear without being shout outers. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Way up high in an apple tree, 2 little apples smiled at me. I shook that tree as hard as I could. Down fell the apples. They were good. Very nice, Mark. So we are in our apple orchard right now, ready to pick some apples. And here we go. There are 3 different colored apples. We have some red, some green, and some yellow. But today we're going to have some reds and some greens. So let me see. Mrs. Petty's is going to draw my apples. I picked 1. I picked 2. And what happens if I add 1 more? Raise your hand and tell me, how many apples did I pick today? Haley?
3.
Very good. We have 1, 2, 3. Very good job. All right, my friends, we're going to do 1.
In the video, the teacher demonstrates some key components of how to teach number sense. Now, what is number sense? Number sense refers to a group of key mathematics ability. It includes the ability to understand quantities and concepts like more and less. Some people have stronger number sense than others. Number sense is a group of skills that allow people to work with numbers. These skills are key in doing mathematics and many other tasks. Number sense is basically the ability to understand numbers and the relationship between numbers. Number sense include skills and knowledge like number identification, recognizing and naming numbers, one-to-one correspondence, understanding that when counting each number relates to one specific thing being counted. Stable order, knowing that numbers always come in a set order. For example, 2 comes before 3. Cardinality, knowing that the last number counted is the number of objects. Magnitude, recognizing that higher numbers reflect larger quantities. Making number comparison, for example, 12 is greater than 10. And understanding the order of numbers in a list, first, second, third, etc. And lastly, recognizing relationships between single items and groups of items. 7 means 1 group of 7 items.
Now we will have the historical background of number sense. Now, before the term number sense came into use, the word numeracy was used back in 1959. And in the late 1980s and 1990s, researchers and educators introduced the term number sense, which gained wide acceptance with the desired outcome for the teaching and learning of mathematics.
Why is number sense important to develop? The development of number sense is significant to a child's understanding of mathematics. With the development of number sense, students are able to understand the relationship and links between numbers. They are able to carry out calculative processes and understand mathematics as a language. If number sense remains underdeveloped, children with poor number sense tend to focus on procedure and will rely on methods that they feel secure with. They apply inefficient and immature strategies to calculations and fail to spot links and connections that could get them to answer more quickly. I'm sure each of us have noticed that some toddlers are able to identify numbers or know the difference between 1, 2, and 3. According to Gelman and Gellerstill, an intuitive sense of number begins at a very early age. Children as young as 2 years of age can confidently identify 1, 2, or 3 objects before they can actually count with understanding. Usually, after this age, the understanding of number sense progresses as children get older with proper guidance and teaching components relevant to number sense. Examples of good number sense. We see number sense in our everyday activities. An example of good number sense is the ability of students to understand and identify the number 10 in a set of numbers. Good number sense also provides the students with the understanding that 10 can be the sum of a few numbers, including but not limited to 6 plus 4, 7 plus 3, or 5 plus 5. Good number sense allows for students to subtract from 10 and eventually divide and even multiply.
Generally, number sense is broken down into 3 basic components: counting, wholes and parts, and proportional thinking. So for counting, counting involves counting by ones, twos, fives, tens, and more. Counting is the ability to put names to quantities. It is understanding how our number system is organized in groups of 10. It must be base 10. Most students that struggle with the math lack counting skills. Number sequence, skip counting, and patterns are difficult for them. And some counting activities are counting up to 20 and down from 20, or even starting at 86 and counting down by tens. The second component, wholes and parts. This is understanding the parts of a number. In other words, number families. For example, understanding that 8 is made up of 7 and 1, 6 and 2, 5 and 3, as well as 4 and 4. Wholes and parts are where you start to learn about the master fractions. Now, fractions are equal parts of a whole. And we have a little activity here, which anyone can feel free to answer. Which pictures are showing fractions?
Miss 1 and 4.
All right, we will see. Okay, so fractions always need to show equal parts. So the correct answers are figures 1, which is showing halves, and figure 4, showing thirds. And the third component of number sense is proportional thinking. Proportions in maths deals with which is more and which is less, comparing quantities and proportions to each other, such as a slice of pizza from a small pizza, a medium-sized pizza, or a large pizza. Proportional thinking is thinking about how many times bigger or smaller a number is compared to another number. For example, how many times bigger is 6 and 3? How many times smaller is 3 than 6? Or how many times bigger is your mom's arm than your arm? Another example, if you have 8 slices of pizza to divide between 4 friends, how many pieces of pizza should each friend get?
Difficulties in number sense. Difficulty in number sense often shows up at an early age when students learn math. Difficulties in number sense occur when students struggle with basic math operations like addition and multiplication. Students who have difficulty with the number sense will experience issues with everyday tasks and skills such as measuring, handling money, and judging time. Causes of number sense difficulties. Number sense difficulties can derive from teachers focusing on math facts and how to do calculations rather than concentrating on the development of students' number sense. Insufficient time spent on mastering number sense, a lack of the basic foundational skills of what number sense actually mean. This means that students must be taught the fluidity and flexibility with numbers and develop an ability to perform mental mathematics as well as make comparisons with the world. What poor number sense looks like. Poor number sense can be observed through the basic computations, adding and subtracting. For example, imagine a pile of 7 beads, then take away 2 of them. Students with poor number sense may not realize that the number of beads has shrunk. Subtracting the 2 beads means that the group of 7 is now a group of 5. In terms of addition, imagine adding 3 beads to that same pile. Students who struggle with the number sense may not recognize that the group of beads has increased. Adding 3 beads to the pile of 7 makes it a pile of 10. Also, the computations multiplying and dividing can show students poor number sense when there is the need to combine items from several groups. They may go through the trouble of adding them. Students may not grasp that it's easier to multiply them. Likewise, they may not recognize that division is the simplest way to break up groups into their component parts. When students are unable to grasp these concepts, it makes learning math and using it in their daily lives challenging.
Here are some examples of students' poor number sense. Have a quick look.
Some ways schools can help with number sense difficulties. Firstly, use manipulatives when teaching number sense. This would help students understand between amounts. Also, some manipulatives that are used are blocks and rods. Secondly, include the number line when teaching. This would give students alternative ways to learn number sense. And lastly, the incorporation of different types of activities, such as matching the numerical word to the digits. Some manipulative activities teacher can practice to develop students' number sense. Firstly, count the number of lunches with students as you receive them for your class. Count the number of cars in the car park. Talk about how we use money to pay for things. Use a wall chart to measure and record the height of everyone in your class. Look for numbers when you're in and out of the classroom. Count out the items you need for a class party, such as forks, plates, and glasses. And lastly, count how many times you can throw a ball to each other without dropping it.
How can caregivers and parents help? It takes time for kids to build number sense skills, but there are many ways to help. Here are some examples. 1. Practice counting and grouping objects such as add to, subtract from, or divide the groups into smaller groups to practice operations, or combine groups to show multiplication. Secondly, work on estimating. Build questions into everyday conversation using phrases like about how many or about how much. Thirdly, talk about relationships between quantities. Ask kids to use words like more and less to compare things. And fourthly, build in opportunities to talk about time. Ask kids to keep track of how long it takes to drive or walk to the grocery store. Compare that with how long it takes to get to school. Ask which takes longer.
Here are some number sense games. These are some websites that you can use for your online classes. And for in-class activities, you can use bingo for number identification, placing numbers in order, number of the day, match the number of the quantity shown on the picture, and missing number worksheet. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you.